Hello guys, welcome to Code Invasion. In this video, we'll be building these cool hover effects using HTML and CSS. So let's get into it. To get started, we'll open a folder in our VS Code, and inside that folder, we'll create an HTML file which we'll call index.html. We'll generate our boilerplate code. Let's change the title to hover effect. Inside the body, we'll create a div with a class container. And inside the div with the class container, we'll create a button with the text hover me. Now, we'll open the file using live server. And there we have it. We see our button showing. Let's split the browser with the code editor so we can see what we are doing. Let's head over to the code editor and create our CSS file. We'll call it styles.css. Boom. Now we will link our index.html file to our styles.css file. Right beneath the title tag, we'll link the styles.css with the link tag. So do it this way. Exactly. Now our styles.css file has been linked with our index.html file. So let's head over to the styles.css and install our button which we have here. The first thing we'll do is to remove every default margin. As you can see, there is some default margin and padding applied to our div and our button. So that's the first thing we remove. Using the universal selector, we set margin to 0 and padding to 0. We also set the box sizing property to border box. Next, we'll style our container div, the div with the class container. The first thing we'll do is to set its width property to 100%, the height property to 100 viewport width, 100 viewport height. Next, we set the display property to flex and the justify content property to center. Also, we'll set the align items property to center. What this does is that it positions our button right in the center of our page. The next thing we are going to style is our button itself. We'll start by setting the font size to 32 pixels. We'll give it a padding of 8 pixels. Now, in order to achieve our hover effect, we are going to be using the before pseudo element on our button. So we'll call button before and we'll set the content property to an empty string. Good. The next thing we'll do is to give it a width property of 100% and the height property of 100%. In order to see our before property, let's give it a background color of red and we'll set its position property to absolute. Actually, we want our before pseudo element positioned absolute relative to our button. In order to do that, we'll have to set the position property on our button to relative. Boom, and there we have it. We see that the size has reduced. So we'll head back to the before pseudo element and we'll give it a top of 0, and we'll set the left property to minus 100%. Alright, so what's left is for us to apply our hover effect such that when we hover on our button, would have the before pseudo element move towards the right. That is, its left property will move from minus 100% to 0. So let's do that immediately. So when we hover on our button, we want the before to have the left of 0. Alright, so let's have a look at it. Boom. Right? Boom. However, this transition is too quick, so let's set the transition property over here. We'll set the transition to 0.5 seconds. Ease in, out. So let's see the effect that has. Alright, this is much more smoother. Now, major issue we can notice is that when we hover over the button, we are not able to see the text. So we'll have to set a hover state for our button such that when we hover over our button, we want the text color to be white, and we'll give it a Z index of 1. Alright, let's also set a Z index for our before pseudo element. And now when we hover, a minus 1, right? So that it is taken to the back. So now when we hover, we can see our text properly. Now we don't want our before element showing when we have not hovered over our button. So in order to do this, we'll have to move to our button styles and set the overflow property to hidden. Boom. And there we have it, guys. This is a very cool hover effect you can use anywhere in your web pages. Alright then, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy coding.